You find us here today in the pretty Dutch harbour of Hinterlopen, which means apparently walking deer in Dutch. We're here to test the boat you can see behind me. It's the Privateer Flybridge 49. It's a brand new boat from Privateer. It debuted this year at the Dusseldorf Boat Show. What you probably can't tell from the video is just how cold it is. One of the perils, I suppose, of trying to do a boat test in February. So let's not stay outside any longer than we have to and quickly climb on board. Before we go get warm inside, let's talk quickly about the cockpit and the flybridge. The cockpit's almost completely protected by the flybridge overhang, and the seating you get is this. It wraps around the transom here, and all of it lifts up to hide some good storage for warps and some of the smaller fenders. There's 3 of these doors on the boat. There's one port, one starboard, and this one accessing the bathing platform. And it's a really, really clever and beautiful piece of engineering. It's a simple handle and it just slides out smooth as you like. The side decks are worthy of note just because they're so wide and they're covered by the flybridge overhang. And they're wide enough for 2 people to pass without any problem, so someone could be doing the fenders, the other person can get behind them. And these grab rails, which run all the way alongside and step up onto the foredeck, are incredibly chunky and safe and just offer you that real feeling and sense of safety when you're working the side decks. The setup on the flybridge is pretty uncomplicated. There's lots of room up here. The teak capped wet bar is a really good size and it hides a small sink, pull-out fridge and a good sized griddle. The helm is set up in a very simple, uncomplicated fashion, and to the rear is a large area for a tender. Now, while it may be very cold outside, it's very warm in here thanks to the excellent standard fit underfloor heating system and the double glazing, which keeps it pretty toasty. But the glazing is also worthy of mention just because it's so big. You know, you get some fantastic views out over the water and out onto this very pretty harbour. The seating is fairly straightforward. These 2 seats to starboard both pull out of their recesses and the TV magically pops out at the touch of a button. A feature of this boat is its galley up layout, and while at the galley you've actually got great access to the entertainment spaces, and you can also keep the helmsman company if you're making a cup of tea. There's plenty of countertop space for preparation. The hobs are really good size. There's 4 burners. The sink's very deep, there's plenty of drawer storage, there's even space for a slimline dishwasher and an oven behind me. What you see here, this unusual looking thing, is actually an air filter, so it extracts the air from the hob and disperses it clean around the saloon. And you've also got access to the side decks via this sliding door. Down the companionway is all the accommodation, and to starboard you have a twin guest cabin with a sliding bed that makes a double. To port is the day heads, which also houses the washing machine, washer dryer, which is also standard fit. And here's the master cabin, and this is worth a look. De volgende dag verzilverde ik mijn traveler checks. $500. Okay. Welcome to the master cabin, and it's Buck Rogers' floating bed. It's really quite a feature. It's a little narrower than you might expect on a boat of this size, and I would be forever banging my head on the ceiling. But it's actually incredibly comfortable. All the beds on board have a framework underneath. It's not just flat wood, so you'll get plenty of good rest on board. There's a good amount of light coming in from the 2 portholes either side, and there's an opening skylight above me in the middle of the cabin. The master cabin heads is a really impressive size. I particularly like the shower compartment just because, being 6'3", there's not often on boats that I can fully stand up and have the shower head above me, but you can on this boat. There's even a porthole at the top so you can entertain your neighbours in the marina or the anchorage with your singing. The legroom ahead of the toilet's a little limited, which is a bit of a frustration, but other than that there's plenty of flat surfaces and loads of storage. Now, I don't know what your boat handling skills are like, but I always get a little bit edgy when I'm trying to steer someone else's 40-ton brand new steel €1 million boat into a tight marina basin and the wind's blowing. But actually it's incredibly forgiving, this boat. The steering upstairs particularly is feather light. and the throttles are very easy to manipulate. It's a very forgiving boat. We were spinning it almost on a sixpence. It turns in its own boat length, almost. Out on the Islemere, we've got these 1 metre rolling swells, but the very deep V of this hull means the ride is very, very forgiving and easy. It's helped by these hydraulic fin stabilisers, which Privateer fit as standard. You switch them off and the impact is almost immediate. You start rolling, pitching a bit more, simple touch button, they're back on again, and the ride flattens.